I'm going to call the meeting because we do have guests here, and within the 10 minutes, if no one shows up, we will, no quorum. Okay, all right. So it is now 5:35, and I'm calling the Holyoke Historical Commission meeting and a call to order. Do you want to do that?
Chris Lockyer,
Here.
Jean Jumper,
Here.
Luis Salazar, Joseph Mazzola,
Here.
Elizabeth Rodriguez, Olivia Mizell,
Okay, we'll go to, sorry, someone's facing, no. Item 2, public comment.
going online.
No one online. We will skip to number 3, so you gentlemen can get in out of here. Step ahead.
Thank you.
How are you, gentlemen?
I'm just getting back from vacation, so I'll let Alex do the
Okay.
presentation because I'm Alex Jansen, Belly Opportunity Council, Steve Hundley, Executive Director. So we're here again to ask for your support
Okay.
for our next submittal to the historical for historic tax credit awards.
Okay.
That's coming up in August.
Okay,
So project is on its way. If we're driven by, you'll see a lot of brick being redone. The windows are in phase 2 of the big building. Phase 1, people moved out and then moved back in. Phase 2 is around the corner, 348 Chestnut. All the windows are new now, and we need to trim them all out. The brick is being repointed, it's all been washed, being repointed on phase 2. And then they'll move right into phase 3. So through the summer into early fall, we'll have brick work. And the brick, the front steps and 48 have been redone. 52 will be done later this fall.
Okay.
And it'll be the major historical work, and then we're attacking the bodega, as you see on the corner. It's kind of empty looking.
Right.
The glass storefront windows are out, so
okay,
new ones are coming. It'll have a very similar look, but it'll be a residential unit.
very cool.
That one will be ready for move-in probably in October. So all historical things will probably be done before the end of this year.
Very good.
Construction will go into probably February.
Okay,
So we will be back before you. So this will go into the August round. So we'll be back for probably the January round,
okay,
as we can apply once more. Probably, and it'll be right around if we'll apply in the following round. As you
Okay.
can continue to apply. To date, we have $1,480,000 that we have in credits from the state, and our 20%. So we can, 20% is eligible. We're right now the 20% is at $1,677,000. We have like $200,000 left to ask for.
okay.
Once you get closer, the awards get smaller.
Smaller and smaller. Okay,
So we'll probably be back a couple more times.
we're here.
Yeah, no, and we super appreciate the support, because it wouldn't be possible without it.
Thank you.
Honestly, it really would not. So, yeah, first people move back in, everybody, really exciting. It's a total transformation.
How many units total are there?
So,
Or will there be?
so 37 units total so that's the townhomes
And
and,
then the other,
yeah, the
Right.
townhomes across the street are
Yeah.
8. And then we have 28 units that are being redone and 1 additional that we're moving into the bodega.
okay,
So the big building has 29 once it's all said and done, and 8 across the street.
very nice, very nice.
Yeah,
Cool.
we're happy to give a tour. If anybody is interested to
Yeah,
take
yeah.
a look.
okay,
Yeah, you guys are been supporting us for years, so it's happy to walk around and see what's
Okay.
what's being done. Oh, whatever works.
Okay.
Or later in the whatever.
as we do not have a quorum this evening, she here? Oh, she just logged in. Oh, hi, Olivia. Okay. Wasn't paying attention. Hi, Olivia.
You're muted.
Sorry, I'm late. I was gonna
That's
come
okay.
down and I got crushed, so
That's okay. Not a problem.
I'm here. Yes.
Okay, we just had a presentation. And I don't know if you wanted to go over it very quickly again, Alex, or were you here? Okay, so do you want to make a motion then to vote?
Sure, I make a motion to vote to write a letter of support, for.
It is going to be 348. Correct, 348?
Yeah, it has three addresses. I'm not
Okay.
sure how it actually is listed. It's 48 and 52
52
Franklin.
okay,
And 348 Chestnut.
and 348.
That's
Okay,
So I make a motion to write a letter of support, for 348 Chestnut and 4852 Franklin Street.
can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor? We need to vote, roll call,
Roll call. Chris Gothier,
yes?
Jean Jumper,
Yes.
Louis Salazar, Joseph Mazola,
Yes.
Elizabeth Rodriguez, Olivia Mazel.
Yes.
You know that?
We're good.
Yep.
A letter will be en route shortly.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Let us know if ahead of one of these meetings or anything, you wanna come by and take a
Okay.
look, or the,
Okay,
for the unit, for you to see,
Okay.
and see some construction, to get a sense of what we're doing.
can I ask about the letters? I mean, is it sufficient just updating the date, or should we be, that's totally satisfactory?
Yep.
Just the
That's-
date, okay,
That's what's.
okay,
That's, yeah, the kind of the,
okay,
that people been doing.
Okay.
fast.
just
Yep.
want to make sure we're following the right, okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe
thank,
okay.
thank you. We're almost there.
All right.
We're in the home stretch.
Beautiful,
Thank you
thank you
so
gentlemen
much.
for coming,
Appreciate
we
it.
appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, have a great night.
Good night.
Okay, next we have the rights block, and I believe Bill is here with us. Hello? Whenever you're ready. I think you're on mute.
Yep,
Okay.
yeah, and so, Commissioner, I had two, discussion items, so one was on the, preservation restriction agreement, and
Okay,
then the other was on the letter of support.
okay,
For the preservation restriction agreement, this is, one of two agreements we're signing for the CPA grant.
okay, yep,
And this one I think is for the historical commission to sign. I think we're right now signing the CPA one, so that one is currently circulated for signatures.
yes.
And I think-
As well, I believe,
Where we're at with this one is our attorney reviewed it, so we're good with how it is now.
Okay.
We just want to make sure the commission is also ready to sign.
We haven't seen it yet.
we have not seen anything yet.
Okay,
So
yeah, I
it's,
can forward it over to you.
Okay,
That was kind of part of my reason to be here, was to I think just bring it to the attention.
now that doesn't that originate from CPA anyways? Doesn't it?
Correct, I think it's, yeah,
Yes.
it's separate, it's a separate agreement.
Okay. So I believe, I thought I heard from Megan, it was with the lawyers, and then I think we were going to be the next step in the process. So we have not heard anything yet from legal,
Okay.
okay?
So I can, once we have the CPA
Yes.
agreement signed, I
Okay.
can forward that over.
Okay,
And then the second order of business is a new letter of support for the upcoming round for state
Okay.
tax credits.
yeah.
I do have some updates to report upon.
Sure,
So we have answered, so we had our conditional approval from the National Park Service. They approved the 106 to 108 High Street Tower on the last round. There was a couple lingering comments they had on the other three towers, which we've answered now. Mainly it was making the porches smaller, and then bringing the guardrails that were around the second floor for life safety, bring them into the roof more. That way you don't see them from the street view. So there's a couple of minor changes that we're resubmitting to them on, but our consultant believes that we'll answer all their questions sufficiently. So we hope to get our first state award this cycle. This would be the April to August cycle, and hope to just kind of resubmit for the August to January cycle.
Okay.
But otherwise, that's kind of the current status there.
Okay. And that's just a letter with an updated date, that would be sufficient.
I think so. I think no changes to the text. I will advise if that's any other changes are necessary, but my understanding is that I think the last letter already did all the updates with the new chair and everything.
Yep, yep. Okay. Any questions? No? No. I think then just a motion to rewrite a letter with an updated date for the Wrights block.
I make a motion that we write the letter with all the updates.
Second,
I second.
roll call,
Chris Gautier,
yes?
Jean Jonker,
Yes,
Joseph Mazzola,
Yes.
Olivia Mazel,
yes,
Approved,
yep, approved.
all right. A letter will be sent shortly, Bill,
Excellent.
okay?
I appreciate it,
Anytime.
Commissioner Gothier.
Thank you.
And have a good rest of the night. Hopefully I plan to join one of these in person.
Okay, we're counting on it then. Thank you, sir.
I'll see you. Goodbye.
Okay. All right, moving right along. The next item on the agenda is the community preservation plan, gathering feedback from us here at the Historical Commission. It is included in your pamphlet. The last meeting with CPA, they're rewriting a lot of things and asking for the input from a lot of the commissions. They're really asking if there's anything we would like added, changed, what have you. So I kind of just printed a couple of pages, and if it's something we can maybe talk about and have some answers for our August meeting, that would be wonderful. I don't know if anybody questions or wants to talk to anything about that.
that's a good idea, Chris, because I haven't really had time to look at it.
Okay, okay.
Chris,
Perfect.
Chris, I have is this, this is related to the CP, the Community Preservation Act?
Plan. Yes,
Yeah.
that is correct, yes.
Okay, not the city's historic preservation plan.
No, no. Thank you for clarifying that. We did talk very briefly, including properties. There's been a little talk about historic districts. Then houses over 100 years old, so there's another piece of the pie that may be coming into fruition with this next round. So I think that's very cool, very cool. But again, if we could possibly before the next meeting, you know, just peruse it quickly, and if there's any thoughts that you have or just something to maybe mention to Meg, that would be greatly appreciated.
Okay.
All right. Anything? Any questions?
No.
All right. Let's see. Okay, now Jennifer, I'd like to actually, item 5 is the commission's 2015 bylaw review. Didn't you say we didn't have it, or we did have it, or it needs to be
These are the bylaws that were drafted back in, I think it's 2018.
18. Yes,
There is no record of a vote of acceptance of the bylaws.
okay. Olivia, you were on the board at that time. Do you
Right,
do you
right.
remember any where it went?
We probably didn't vote on it.
Okay,
So, let's review it again and then we can vote on at the next meeting.
for the next meeting, okay?
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect,
But what happens if you, you review it and you want to make some edits?
yes, right. Let's do probably the same thing with the community preservation plan. Let's we'll bring it up at the next meeting. Any questions, additions, what have you? And
Yeah.
then vote after that, or if it takes another meeting,
If there's no changes.
Right,
then
right.
vote on it.
Okay,
And I can always prep the document to make.
changes,
in
oh, that would be,
the-
all right, okay, can you do that and report it to all of us?
Be any changes prior to the next meeting. I can do that, but, you know, then it's, well, do you agree with that?
Right,
Do you not agree with
right,
that?
yeah, let's wait for the next
You
meeting,
guys open meeting?
right, okay,
That'll work.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, item 6 is the city council's approval of the surplus of 35,000 to the commission and working with the Pioneer Valley Planning Department. And I did speak to Shannon. I've also kind of included basically the proposal, what we had talked about. She is going to be presenting hopefully at a future meeting. Is there anything that we should ask? I did ask how the process goes. I have no clue how that works. Signage, contracts, all that. So she's going to start the process on her end
Mhm.
and go from
I
there.
could, yeah, I can walk. through
Okay,
all of
all right,
that. Yeah, I do that regularly.
Okay, all right,
Yeah, so I know the process.
all right.
In order to.
okay.
Chris, so-
Here we do,
Yeah.
I'll even check to see if we have to go through, procurement.
Right, see, that's what I know nothing about any of that. Jean, you had a question, I'm sorry.
Yeah, would this include a preservation consultant?
You have the list of what you.
Let's see, planning support as needed. I would imagine, and it's basically when I spoke to Shannon, it will hit local, the historic districts, the building inspector, OPED. Basically, it will be kind of wide open to the city.
So if there's another commission that also needs a historic advisor,
Yes,
okay,
okay, so I think
Yeah.
that this will help basically. It'll be another asset for the city at some point.
okay,
Okay, and especially with the historical district guidelines, she is very, very much looking forward to doing this with the city. She talked about other communities and she said it's gonna be a great asset for the city of Fulton.
yeah, because right now we don't have any preservation consultants at all.
Right, right. Now, I know Jennifer, you said also something with,
Yeah, I have one question before I lose it. When you put in the request for the 35,000 of the free cash,
mhm,
did you specify that it was going to be Pioneer Valley Planning Commission that was going to be involved in expending those funds?
no.
Okay, so that might kick us into having to do some type of procurement process.
All right,
So I will follow up about
okay.
that.
I just, when Josh had asked me, I basically just told him that I was
And
talking.
there's certain things that don't have to be
Okay,
put through that process, but I wanna make sure.
okay,
And if we do, I've been doing a lot of that, and so if I can again walk you through that. We were also awarded $35,000 from the Mass Gaming Mitigation Fund. And that is to implement the historic tourism plan that was created by Shannon Walsh. In 2021, I think it was 2021, 2022. So we do have an additional $35,000 specifically to implement that plan too.
okay.
So the commission has this year finally a good nugget of funds to
Got
be
some
able
money.
to do, yeah.
Okay.
To do some stuff. So now it's prior to me knowing what process we need to get there, I need to know what we wanna do. And then that will determine which route I have to take, whether or not I have to involve purchasing or how that's going to be. So we'll have to.
So is this
Narrow
something
down
that
to-
condition we should talk about more of?
Yeah,
how we
we wanna, yeah,
Okay.
narrow it down to this is what we want to, start with. Let's
Okay.
get this,
At next meeting, then we should also look at maybe the tourism plan that she created.
Okay,
Let's do that as well.
okay,
And again, if you break it down to just, let's start with just this one piece from the historic tourism plan, this one piece from. Whether it's preservation,
so we can do this piece, we don't
Yes.
have to have,
no,
okay,
no. I know that the 35,000 that we acquired from Mass Gaming doesn't have to be spent until 2026. twenty-six or twenty
That
twenty-seven?
was another question. Is there an expiration? Is it have to do
The
with fiscal?
money I have to ask.
But my,
That was something she did ask me and I didn't have any answer and I said, I would ask you.
Okay,
I did tell her it was free cash, so that might be
Yeah,
a
that-
different
right,
avenue. of-
there's,
Right.
right, yeah. So me, I know that because I did this grant, so I know that the end date of spending it several years out, so I don't imagine that's.
Okay.
I'm hoping we have much more money come in before that.
Go ahead.
Spend the 35,
All right,
you know,
Joseph.
the 35 that we got for Shannon to consult, is that like a flat fee? Or is that as we use her, she charges us?
so that's where we have to get into what do we
Oh.
want from her?
Right.
And I'll have to delve into, can we go right to her? Or do I have to put this out for an RFP process to get her to bid on it? That's where I have to be very cautious that we're not just choosing them. I have to have rules and reasons as to why. That's why I was wondering if she was specifically mentioned in the original ads.
I thought she was.
Yeah, I mean, that was.
I
like,
thought she was because the mayor, I
Right.
believe Mayor
Right.
Garfield was the one who
Yes,
sort of did it, and when it was presented to.
Council, I thought that's how we.
Yes,
finance.
So what I'll do
Yeah.
is I'll ask procurement. I'll ask procurement, what, you know, what I need to do to make sure that we,
yeah, because my understanding was from the beginning, it was,
Strictly.
this
for-
is for
Right.
Shannon Walsh to consult
yep,
to do X, Y, and Z. And
and
then
I
when it
just
was,
wanna make sure that that is the case and we don't get stuck
Sure.
right.
and because then when it was brought up in council, I believe that was, it was the same as well.
Mhm.
Okay.
True. Any questions or Zoom people?
No,
Next item?
Mhm.
Yes. Item number 7, I would like to kind of open up some discussion of possible future meetings, you know, with Fairfield, the planning board, the building department, to try to keep us all on the same alignment and just kind of know what's going on in the city, projects, what have you. I don't know, would anyone like to maybe talk about that?
I did speak with Lauren, so,
Okay.
he,
Sorry. No, I'm about to lose this, so I had to start it somewhere else.
so the chair of Fairfield,
Mhm.
Marcos,
Mhm.
whose last name I'm forgetting.
Good Presentini.
Steps down,
Presentini,
they
yeah.
got a new chair,
Yeah.
Lauren, she's wonderful.
Okay.
Lauren and I did talk, she's very open to having some sort of joint meeting, quarterly or however we want to decide to do it.
Okay.
She's very interested in creating local historic districts.
Mhm.
She's just very open to opening the conversation.
Okay, beautiful. Now, I know Jennifer, we had kind of talked about that very briefly about. I think it's gonna go as well to item 11, just to kind of,
Mhm.
when we need to do research, kind of instead of asking, you know, we can. I don't know, bulletin board of sorts or
Right,
talking amongst other commissions, so we're all kind of on the same wavelength here.
right.
Everybody knows what's going on within the city.
Yeah, and I actually did, after our conversation, I did mention that, you guys were looking for an email address,
Mhm.
you know, and so they know, it's just a
Say,
matter of. It's, yeah, you know, it's a matter of money, honestly, or, you know, because it costs to add additional email addresses. And so we ran into that with staff email addresses, so,
But I think given the goings
So-
on, we need to have. I think at this point, it's,
yeah,
it should be like this,
so I'll just.
one email, it's all we
I
need.
think what happens if
Yeah.
I said I'm not giving my personal email?
Right. I think, I think that is a very good question. Now, yeah, and I'll pose it to them again,
Okay.
and push for it and see, you know, I mean, it's a new fiscal year too,
Mhm.
You know, so we did ask this last fiscal year. You know, so, but I'll certainly ask again, make sure that I keep that at the forefront.
Olivia, you had a question?
I just wanted to support the idea of the future meetings with the other commissions and building and planning.
Okay,
It's a great thing. The more we talk and the more we get to know what other ones are, what each other are doing, then it puts our efforts and their efforts all together. So it's in support of that. Looking forward to doing that.
okay. Perfect.
And I think specifically with our building department.
Yes.
We've really got to work on that
Yes.
relationship. Yeah.
Okay.
And there are new people in the various departments, and so they don't always understand the difference between the different commissions, historical commissions and local district commissions. And so
Correct.
we can help clarify that kind of information for them.
Perfect. So how do we start this? Jennifer?
I mean, I can reach out and set things up. How often are you looking to do it and what are you looking to get out of it?
Well, I just think lately with some of the issues with
Mhm.
trying to gather information, and I mean, it's item number 11.
Yeah,
Maybe if we could do things ourselves without asking, a department. I'm not gonna ask to go into, personal drives or whatever, but something, if there is a demo, something, or is not gonna happen, but George had asked for that with me.
but that's access to the city drive, which is the permanent data of the city. And I mean, I can ask, but I would guess that they would say no. That they would say any information you need, we can provide to you, but we can't, I don't know if they'll allow. Even though you're
Mhm.
commissioners of the
Mhm.
board, I don't, because that is, that's the city's drive.
But it's public record.
So it is public record, that's why you can request all of it.
Sure.
And you have access to all of it, I just don't know if you can have live capabilities.
Well, what if it was just viewing
So, I don't
capabilities?
know. And that's the thing, I don't know if you
Sure.
have that capability to just allow you to go in and look at stuff without editing stuff.
Yeah.
We wouldn't ask to edit any.
No,
Right,
I
I
know
think
that,
it's,
but that would
yeah.
be the issue.
I know how the city
But
is,
would be
right.
having people have full access to those are
Right. right,
archival documents.
Sure, so then how do we open the discussion if, let's say, a permit comes in to the building department, doesn't
Yeah.
matter what it is?
Yeah.
How do we get notified of that? My feeling should be. If something comes in for a building that's 100 years or older.
Yeah.
We should automatically be notified.
Well, I did provide them a list of all of the buildings that are 100 years and older, so that they are aware of that. You can still just keep reminding them that they have to do that,
Yeah,
and that, it's my understanding that before there was a way for them to put something. That when someone pulled the permit, that a notification was sent out. But I don't know if that's their current process and how things run. But that was kind of what I gathered when we met, was once I provided them with that list. And I did confirm that they received it, that then that would happen, that when they pulled things, permits were pulled and stuff like that, we would be notified. So do you know of any instance where a building hasn't been notified other than the one that's already on our radar?
the one I'm not allowed to talk about,
Wright Street.
Dwight Street, they're painting that building, what's the
Is that the
address? It's
345?
345 Dwight. They're painting that entire building,
Unless there is a preservation restriction, though, I don't know if you can keep them from making any changes to their building.
But let me interrupt.
Right.
That's obviously why having a meeting with them would help clarify and explain and go over all that each party should be doing.
Right, but what I'm saying is he's pointing to a particular address that's having facade work. And unless there is a preservation restriction, it's outside of our wheelhouse. So I think we've already provided them all of the preservation restrictions that we have
Buildings over 100 years.
thus far.
Bill, if the,
The building's over 100 years
it's
old.
one of the oldest buildings in.
Right, but they're only doing facade improvements, they're not doing any. If there's no
Well, but
preservation,
they're-
there has-
they're-
so that's where you, as the commission would say, well, we wanna put a preservation restriction because it is a historical building. So that when you do facade improvements, you have to follow certain guidelines. But just because the building is over 100 years old, doesn't mean that you can just tell them,
No,
you know, and so that's the thing, is that if you want to be able to do that, then that's where the preservation restrictions come in. Where you're preserving that building to that particular, you know, era or look. Or correct me if I'm wrong, Olivia, that's how the preservation restrictions work?
I'm sorry,
I know, but if there's no preservation restrictions, but the building is, you know, 150 years old. We can't tell them what to do with their facade unless we have a preservation restriction in place, correct?
are they in the National Register District?
no,
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 So we probably, that's a Shannon question too.
but I think that's how we do that.
but
sure,
again, this is altering a building that is over a certain.
right,
But that's why you have to say, hey, you want to put a preservation restriction, so when you go to alter this building, you have to abide by these rules. But as of right now, it's just an older building that will come before you, they wanted to demolish it.
Yeah.
Or, you know, so you don't have that, preserve it in this capacity on all of those buildings, that's why the preservation restrictions are important.
right, but if,
Peter, because you do preservation restriction stuff because you live in a historical, that's my take on how.
Yeah, it depends on the status of the building. Is it listed on the National Register?
Yeah,
Is there a historic preservation easement on it?
right,
I was just looking through the Hampton County Registry of Deeds. I don't see one. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean there isn't one there. It could be. You have to make a very detailed search.
yeah,
But in my memory, I don't remember any sort of restrictions on that building. In fact, most of us expected it to be torn down.
right,
Mhm.
but then my question would be, let's say they pull permits to do all sorts of work on the front of this building or whatever. No one notifies us of that. I think that's my
Correct.
comment, is that how do we know? If someone is proposing to, let's say, tear down a building. Or do,
well, tear down the buildings. different.
or something,
That
I'm just,
comes-
well,
What I would say to you is. That would be. I don't know if that, how do I say this?
But again, now we're talking about, say, if they.
You have
Board
currently have no active
role.
role in a building unless it has a restriction. Just.
What
because-
But what if it was a local historic district?
Well, that's different, but we're talking, yeah, I mean, there are different levels to it. You know, but if there are no restrictions on the building, we can't say, hey, let us know about the facade work and then come for you. We have to be proactive about it, so that when they do pull that permit, we have already put in the preservation restriction.
Sure.
Which is triggered at the building department, because I provided those with them, and then we get involved, we can't do it the other way. So we can't say, no, we're gonna preserve it now. You know, we have to do it where we're like, this building is important and we're gonna preserve it now, and then all of that should happen.
sure, I
So
think
I
that's,
don't know if we can do it.
it's tricky, because like as Peter was saying, I assumed that building was gonna be torn down.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, they're doing the work
Yeah.
on it, like, it's just
Never
a
know.
tricky
Yeah.
thing. And so,
So what I would say is go through the buildings, you know, I mean, you have a good grasp. And start thinking that maybe that could be part of how we're moving forward. Excuse me, let's analyze those buildings that are over 100 and see which ones we don't want to have any facade changes. Or turret changes, or, you know, whatever, you know, and then do it that way. So then when it comes time, it triggers it, it comes before you, you have your say and it's, you know, it's following the process. Whereas the other way, I mean, you might be able to make the arguments for it, but I don't know if we necessarily have the grounds to stand on.
And
So I would love to see us create a process where,
that's part of the
All of that
confusion and
is-
discussion is. There's no communication.
Yeah.
So on our end, it's this sort of revolving door of what's going on.
Yeah.
I guess my question would be to do the preservation restriction. That a whole, we have like a public hearing, I've never done one, so is that a whole thing? Cause
Yeah.
I just from, maybe I shouldn't say this, but I can't imagine that the owner of a building.
May
is
want
gonna be
that in.
thrilled that we're gonna put a preservation
No.
restriction on it. Do they, like, that's why I'm asking if it's a public hearing process, is it,
They have to sign it.
and if they don't?
If they don't, there's no, they have to agree
Doesn't happen.
to change that and add that as an easement to their deed. So they would have to sign that document.
Well, for instance, the train station, that Richardson Train Station went for a CPA grant and they slapped a preservation restriction as part of their grant. And so the owner said, I don't want a preservation restriction on it, that's, and so he declined the grant. So the owner can deny that, you know, because it also I'm not sure it's if it means that they can put a lien on the building if at some point in time. I'm not sure how that, all the technicalities of that, but I know some people don't want restrictions on it.
Yeah.
So that will, yeah, unless there's a negotiation process.
No, some people it's beneficial and some people it's detrimental.
Well, it's all dependent.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Right.
Hmm.
Do we know about the owner of this building? Do we know anything about it? Other than he's out of state?
No,
That's all we know.
Okay. Has he come to the city for any funds or anything?
don't believe, there are so many open permits and open things for that particular address, I don't know what's current and what's. I honestly don't know.
Okay. Well, it might take might be good for one of us to go down there and approach the owner. I do have his address because I went and talked to some of the workers, the worker bees that they were repointing some of the bricks and things. And I told them what we were looking forward to what they were doing and blah, blah, blah. And I took the name of the company off the truck. So I can find it and we can start that. I can't find the information on the truck right now, but it was I think it's New Jersey and a New Jersey address.
Okay.
Let me see. But I'll find it and we can go down and say, hey, what's going on?
Introduce
You know?
ourselves, yes.
Yeah, just introduce ourselves. We're here to help. What can we do? This is an important part of our city, blah, blah, blah. You know, I don't know if here, I found it. This guy is KHAIKA Construction, Saunders Street, Rego Park, New York. That's like in Queens,
Mhm.
isn't it?
Yeah.
That's over there where Tony's restaurant is in Rego. Great restaurant. We should go there one time. But, that's his truck. It'd be interesting. And there's a telephone number there. You know? No. Oh, yeah. It's a telephone number. I would say let's reach out to them and see what's happening. Maybe they're receptive, maybe not. They're doing a lot of work.
And I would hope to, I think sometimes us as the historical commission, we are looked at as more of a nuisance. But I would hope that people with these historic properties do know that they can come to us because there are programs and grants and all sorts of things that we can help them with. It's not just about restrictions and telling people what they can or cannot do.
Yeah,
It's,
That's something we do, create something, some type of brochure or letter or something that we can send. I mean, if there's a finite amount of
and that's, yeah,
properties, and send and do a mass mailing of, this is our commission, and this is what we do.
well, and we had also discussed as well. A process of what to do when someone purchases a historic property,
Right.
what those steps should
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
So I think we should work on that as well, that could be.
Yeah.
Jointly
Absolutely.
done.
wasn't there some talk about putting a packet together?
Yes,
I think that's a
So we were
great,
talking about kind of like
yeah,
a development toolkit for historical property.
yeah,
Now
yeah.
you purchase a historical property, this is what you can expect.
Now what do you do? Yeah,
well, that is one thing with the design guidelines with Shannon.
Mm-hmm.
She will be able to help investors, architects, projects. Coming forward, so we'll have to divulge in that with.
Yeah,
Chris, do you want me to send over that information on the construction?
Yes, thank you, Olivia. I would like that, yes.
Okay, I'll put it in the chat.
Do you want to join me?
Sure.
I'll keep you posted.
Okay, no,
And
you
just to
do it.
reiterate, don't ever hesitate to reach out to me to open prod department people.
Mhm.
That's what I'm here for. That's why I'm our staff for you guys,
So,
That's right.
I
Yes,
know who's on vacation, who's not on vacation. I know who, I have access to people's calendars. I have, and so don't feel bad that if you send me multiple emails, I may not be able to get to it, immediately, but that's what I'm here for, and so I can get that information maybe a little more readily, maybe not, maybe, but it certainly doesn't help,
would be,
it certainly will help.
that's what it means.
yes, okay. Thank you all. Okay, item number 8 is approval of the May 10, 2023 meeting minutes.
Looks good to me.
Ladies, anything?
I make a motion, we approve.
I second.
Roll call?
Chris Gauthier,
Yes.
Jean Younger,
Yes,
Joseph Mazola,
Yes,
Olivia Mazel.
Oh, yes.
Unanimous.
And on a second note, Olivia, would you mind continuing to take our meeting minutes? That was a one-time thing with the company.
Okay,
Is
sure.
that okay?
Oh, okay.
Were you prepared?
I'm not prepared now,
We can work on it together.
but I'll do it next. Yes,
Okay, okay.
okay,
Have access to the recording.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that's the
recording. Yeah,
recording.
okay. Yeah, okay, I'll catch up.
Okay. Thank you, Olivia.
You're welcome.
I loved your minutes, by the way, with all the pictures. I thought that was fantastic.
Oh, well, it helps me because the date, you get confused on some of the addresses. It's like, which one is that now, and so, thank you. Jennifer, I'm sending you the 345 Dwight info too,
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
for your files.
Okay.
Okay, next item on the agenda is a update from Trinity Kendrick, which is our intern, and I did include that in the packet. With great apology, she really has not been able to do much, just due to school and graduations, etc. So I don't know where we stand with that, Jennifer. Do we sever ties? Do we let it ride?
I mean, that's gonna be up to you guys.
Okay,
I think that money came from CPA.
How long was she?
It was a money amount.
It was
Oh,
a, it was
it's a
a, it
certain-
was a finite, yeah, it was a.
It
But
was
it was for a certain period of time.
not that I know.
No, we had an end to it, it was open-ended, I can pull up the contract and review it
Certain amount of money being.
Allocated for her to do
to do
this.
the job, so it was more of like a paid task type of situation.
So I will actually reach out to her then and
I'll pull
maybe
up the contract and
continue.
double check.
I mean,
I have had a concern about her not being able to be on site,
Mhm.
you know, and not being able to visit Holyoke, you know, she can't, she's busy and she's a student, so that's her priority.
Rhode Island.
I wish we could have someone local. I think it would be.
Yeah,
Really cool to have a local student or students who are interested and could actually maybe come to meetings and work with us. And
That would be neat, yeah.
I think can we find out to Sage maybe,
Yeah, I'll find out.
and then
UMass has a very good history department. They sent us students before, graduate students in the past who helped us on some cemetery work. And I don't know if the same department head is there, but they're receptive, they're local, and there was no money involved. It was part of their program.
They did a great job updating some of the macros.
yes, yes. All
And I
right,
think that would be just super helpful if a property comes up, just to say, hey, can you research this property for us and
right,
just to gather information.
okay. I can look into UMass then. I will look into
That'd be
that.
great.
And Jennifer, you'll see what to
Yep.
and
I'll find, yeah.
So it's like-
Contract and see if there's any issue.
Was that money from general?
I think it was from CPA. I think the previous chair had asked CPA for some funding for that. So I can actually ask. I can, or you, one of us. you know,
I can
with
ask
that,
that.
Meg.
All right, I'll ask.
And, yeah, I mean, and even if you wanna reaffirm, like, hey, is that money still sitting there and still have access to it, you can, you know, where you. Yeah, because paying an intern, even if it's a phenomenal amount, we'll get you something better than.
Yeah, right, definitely, definitely. Good work, people. I like that idea. Anything else? Trinity? No? Okay, number 10, reports from commissioners attending other boards and committee meetings. Would anyone like to go first? Ooh. Olivia, Jean,
I'm just getting back in the loop, so I can report on some grand jury stuff I did. But I can't say any names, so. Yeah. There's some, I think Jean, I'm gonna hand it over to Jean.
Well, as you can see by my face, we're very busy with the 150th. So we have a lot of committees going there and lots of work, and we're looking for volunteers. So if anybody's listening out there, the committees are looking for volunteers. Joseph and
Yeah,
myself, yes, we're on the gala committee. Joseph is the co-chair of the gala. And I'm on that, the silent auction committee and the time capsule. So we're very, very busy and a lot of activities going on citywide. Other than that, I don't think, the trust is a separate 501, so I don't think it's appropriate here.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's what I've been engaged in. And the Friends of City Hall, Olivia will update us on the documents. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. How could I forget? Yes.
Yes, how could you forget the documents?
Oh, yeah. The Belfour, the document recovery people, came in June to to vacuum and collect about 40 boxes of journals, old journals and census files from the basement of City Hall. So I'll send you some pictures. I have to write up a report. So they actually they took the documents, they took them to their lab, and they finished the process. They're clean, they're sanitized. They were set in ozone rooms. There's a whole process to it, and they're ready to be returned to City Hall. So what we'd like to do is when they may be coming in a week or so. So it's going to be amazing what some of these things, what we can discover in these old documents have been down there since 1880s. So we want to get them, we want to exactly see what we have, and we have to, of course, give credit to CPA but we don't want to exactly publish it. It's not ready for public consumption right now because we want to make sure they're in the right places and people
They have to be cataloged and
cataloged, inventoried, and all that stuff. So, but it was a $9,987 CPA funding. The Friends of City Hall chipped in $1,000 to help with the costs, and so it's finally come around full circle.
Nice.
So we'll keep you posted, and when I'm sure you'd be interested in seeing some of the pictures and some of the journals.
Where is everything gonna be stored, Olivia?
Well, for now, we've had offers to store them at the history room, at the library, and also in City Hall. So, but actually they need to be in a climate controlled supervised room, actually, because of some of them are delicate and need to be preserved. So that's going to, and the history room has offered to do that, but before we send it over there, they have to have, Eileen has to get prepared. And so we have to bring in Penny, Eileen, and a lot of the players to take a look at, and Brenna also to take a look at what we've got and how we can use it, and that kind. So right now we're just having the documents come to City Hall. We can keep them in the Friends office for now, and until we can get them in a climate controlled supervised setting.
And it'll also give us an opportunity to catalog what's in those boxes.
Right. So that was a fun time being in the basement. Lots of
Excellent.
cobwebs.
I can, you want me to?
Sure.
We have had, Jennifer, issues with these noontime meetings.
For problem properties.
Properties.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
really
yeah.
difficult to,
Yeah.
I would love to participate in these meetings, but. A walk at lunchtime for 2 hours is just something I don't have. And then a meeting the following day or 2 days later, it just seems like a lot. And then I'll be honest, I don't feel like there's I don't get it. Maybe I'm missing something, but
Excuse me, Joseph, I don't mean to be rude, but I have to go. My class begins in 1 minute.
enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank
See
you,
you
Jane.
soon.
I think that the idea of having someone from the historic commission was so that you guys were aware of all the properties that were on the city's radar as we were addressing them. And that's actually why the meeting is held during the day, is because it's a department meeting. So in the alternative, I would say that I can keep you on the email list, and I think if I'm not mistaken. There are notes about afterwards. And so maybe if, you know, if we just keep that process going, so that you get the note, and then if there's anything that.
Specific, yeah.
Specific that you want further information or anything like that, then you can reach out to me. I can follow up with whoever, you know, where
Yeah.
it originated from, we can do it that way. Because it is difficult.
Are we
Yeah.
required or is it just?
No, the prior
Thank
chair
you.
wanted more input and wanted more advance notice on properties that were on the city's radar.
Okay, all right.
So it's not, right,
It's just,
yeah,
I think a report is more than sufficient.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring it up because I don't show up, and so I don't want it to be this thing of,
just
well,
the
they're on-
show.
right,
Yeah,
you know, it's just. People work and midday is difficult.
The worst time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the same, I mean, tourism advisory is great. I know that's appointed.
Yeah.
I think for us. It's nice to be included, but we're now gonna start what we wanna do with tourism and all of that. I feel like maybe it's a little soon for us to be on that committee until we maybe focus on some other things here. Does that make sense? Like, I think for us, we really wanna work on interdepartment relationships
Mhm.
and all of that.
Mayor Garcia.
It's appointed, yes. Again, I just kind of feel like our participation in it is. Lackluster at the moment. It's nice to be included, but
I mean, I would just suggest the same thing,
yeah.
to keep you in the email loop,
Mhm.
and then, you know.
Lydia had a question, but I haven't say something. Lydia?
Olivia,
I'm available at noon time. I can, for, problem properties,
Okay,
if you
Okay,
need somebody to, attend.
yeah, it's a walk. It's like they walk through the different neighborhoods and
Okay,
spend the afternoon identifying different properties and all of that. And then I believe either the next day or 2 days later, there's a meeting
yeah,
to discuss it.
with all department heads and things. So again, the PPG isn't mandatory, but it does keep you in the loop on what's going on with the properties that the city's addressing in town,
which we are asked
so.
to keep us in,
Mhm.
right, but it's
Yeah.
just with so.
Yeah.
The timing.
This is something that I would kind of be interested in, at least from the perspective of somebody who sits on the Holyoke Preservation Trust. Because the trust has an interest in the resolution of Holyoke.
Mhm.
I don't know if, like, the mayor has to assign somebody to sit there,
The PPG,
no,
No, I think anyone,
could I be included?
I can ask, yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't be able to go to every meeting, but
no,
I would really like to know what goes on with that.
Okay.
That's something that really does concern me.
yeah. I can
Generally, the way
certainly
they
ask.
do it is like, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay.
The email is they'll send out, like, they'll say, oh, we're focusing on this area today, so these streets and all of that, so you could pick and choose which. You wanted to go.
Oh, that would be cool, yeah.
Areas.
Yeah, that's it, and then we walk around and, okay, well, this one, you know, the city owns that, this one's their problem, we need to do this, what are we gonna do here? And it usually includes, oftentimes, you know, our board of health, and so then we'll know. Because remember, the board of health and the building department are the only two regulatory boards that can really, you know. And so they're the ones who will say, oh, we had to with this, or, you know, so it's kind of, meeting of the minds.
Fire department's still involved?
Usually, not always, they're not police, no.
No, they're not involved anymore?
Building, fire. Board of health. And then sometimes, we'll even have, you know, purchasing, assessing, you know, different, so, you know,
Because it's sitting on the property.
so,
Yeah.
but it, yeah. Or even just problem properties that we don't own, but have become issues. And the city needs to address them one way or another, whether it's just reaching out to find out what's going on, or, you know, the city needs to
Yeah,
take
it's
more.
something I would be interested in if it's possible for me to join that.
Notify you all.
anything. Being representative from the trust, I mean,
Yeah,
right,
Preservation Trust.
yeah, you
I
could be,
think the
right,
trust would like to report
Yeah,
on what's
well, we'll
going
bring
on
that
with
up.
problem properties around town, because it used
Right.
to have a list
And
of
it's.
individual
you know,
properties.
property
Right.
preservation group.
right,
That's, Yeah,
Well, that's-
so that's.
Yeah,
part of
it's
it.
been renamed, kind of,
Mhm.
yeah,
You'll bring that up tomorrow's meeting. Okay,
okay.
all right. Perfect.
And then TAC, I mean, that's Tourism Advisory Committee. The benefit of that is that it is actually a rather large span of people. You know, so we have like the Springfield Convention and Visitors Bureau, okay, on there. Business owners, and so that's a different, much larger, you know, so as we're going into this work.
Right.
That's where that would be your piece of getting information out on the work that you're doing with regards to preservation and historic, even events here in town, you know. And so that would be your in to get that out there. Can I have her add you to the PPG
Yeah.
follow-up and the
Yeah.
follow-up? I'll do that.
And Jennifer, again, this is what we're looking for,
Yeah.
just to be abreast of what's. You know, and some of it may not even pertain, but it would just be a database knowledge of every other department in the city, what's happening.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of times where someone will come to the commission asking about this and this and this, and you don't have the answer.
Yeah.
It's, you know, feeding them to the proper organization, which we totally understand, but
Yeah.
it would be nice to have a conversation that we're somewhat fluent in. Oh, we did hear about this property, or we
Right.
did hear about this,
Yeah.
and you know,
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. Right.
okay. Anything else? All right, we kind of did touch on item 11.
Mhm.
But we can.
Yeah, I'll follow up, I'll find
Okay.
out, I'll keep poking them about the email address, and I'll ask about how we go about
Just plain and simple.
access to the
If-
drive itself.
If the commission, any commissioner, not just the historical commission. if
Well, that
we
would be
did-
my ask, yeah,
If we didn't want to provide our email address, how would we communicate?
and I'll find out. Like I said, it does make a difference that now we're in the fiscal year, so maybe it has a little bit more.
And again, when I'm gone and
So-
someone else is
Yeah.
taking the reign, it's.
Right.
always-
Yeah,
That the current.
Someone may
chair
come,
that's-
someone may come 20 years prior that wants to reach out, and again, it's just gonna be an easy transition.
Yeah.
So,
Agreed.
anything else?
27, 29 Count
Yes.
Street. I know they talked about it at council, that building, but it's behind, I believe it's the town.
Oh, the one that's, the pile of rubble?
Yes.
Okay.
It was, I had actually mentioned it to the chair, prior to the city council agenda going out. And so then I said, oh, they're gonna talk about it.
Mhm.
There was allegedly supposed to be an update. I think one of the counselors said the mayor had an update. But I don't know that we've heard anything about it. It was just on my radar that this pile of rubble is sitting there.
Okay.
It's dangerous.
Mhm.
You know, I think that was sort of the concern for the counselors as well.
That's a good question for the board of health.
Yeah,
I can find out what the status is. I know that we were getting rid of one that was down the street first, and this one was second in the line, so I don't know where it is. Interesting tidbit, in order to get rid of a pile that's been sitting there like that, they actually have to do extermination efforts, which I never would have thought of until I started doing this. But because it sat there so long, you end up with all sorts of occupants.
right.
And so there's like prep work to picking up the demolition debris that has to be performed. So once that is signed off on, then they have the okay to actually clean it up.
Well, we were gonna ask what happens with the old bricks.
Yeah.
It would be beneficial to maybe put them back in circulation.
Is there right there?
Does the DPW? You know, so all we're saying, if someone wants to do their chimney,
Right,
we could have historic bricks for someone to
That's
redo their chimney or a walkway.
Sidewalks.
Or, yeah.
We'll do it ourselves.
Is that a program we could start? I know it's a big undertaking, we would need somewhere to store them, as Chris and I do in our backyards. But if we could redistribute historic material, I think that would be really cool.
Going back to the community,
Yeah.
after they're bleached, of course.
Wow.
I didn't know that either.
I'll find out. Cause I honestly wanna say that we probably contract out this online, this is my guess.
What's that associated building, right?
So, and
And I
that's,
think-
because I don't know how that's. let me
They,
find out.
I think I've seen them clean them and pile,
I was just.
and I assume it's for resale.
Yeah.
They do, right,
Right, so if it's. Well,
Mhm.
if we
Right,
have the bricks.
yeah, let me ask, that's a good question, I'll find out. We've got a fruitful meeting.
Okay, anything with? Are we good? I'd like to make an announcement. And it's just regarding 144 High Street. Per our last meeting in May, it seems that the initial building permit was paid by the building department. But we have not heard back from the actual owners of the building to us here at the Historical Commission. I am concerned. I would like to do some type of stop work until we hear from them. I have reached out to several departments in the city, including the mayor, with no response.
Okay.
And I know that I did speak to you, so you did give us some information about the fire department and the dumpster in the back. We still have a lot of ongoing issues with this property, and I need help.
Yeah. I will speak with the assistant city solicitor tomorrow and ask her, you know, where the commission stands, where we go from here. You know. Like I said, I need for her to give me some guidance.
Okay.
on where we're going.
And that's what we're looking for as well.
Yeah, so, and that'll be in tomorrow morning,
Okay,
so I should know something,
okay,
have the wheels moving
okay,
by lunchtime.
okay. Perfect.
How long it will take her to do or she might not do. I mean, she's been already involved in it for a while, so I don't know if it's gonna be a huge lift for her to tell me. But once I hear back from her, one way or the other.
We would appreciate some,
Response.
yes,
Okay.
guidance. We need, there's issues and we have to deal with this as the historical commission.
Yeah, right.
Anybody have any announcements? Anything else? No. Olivia, any announcements? Anything?
No, nothing.
No? Okay. We'll go on to number 13, new or old business.
Old business.
Go ahead.
Use a mic. So speaking for the Friends of the Hadley Falls Company Housing District, the grants, we didn't get any of the grants that we applied for. And it doesn't look likely that we would get any CPA grants either, since repairs of sidewalks, not a very good use of CPA money. But the city is looking to do some repairs down there. The city engineer may have already visited there. I didn't notice if anybody was out there, but they're looking to do some repairs to some of the problem areas of the bricks, at least. We would be really thrilled to have some of these areas where there were trees and it's just all broken up bricks now. We would be thrilled to see those fixed. So I'm hopeful something good happens there. I don't know how much money the city has to do work like that. But I guess they're going to find out because nobody's done this kind of work in a long time. And on another matter, I had a meeting with a woman named Shantia Anderhagen. She was the only person listed on Preservation Massachusetts directory who specialized in easements. And I was trying to wrap my head around how these historic preservation easements are supposed to work, since we often talk about them, and the Historic Commission does them, the CPA, the CPC committee does them. And what she told me was that in the case of my house, somebody should be doing a yearly easement inspection. of it. And in the case of my property, it would probably be One Holyoke CDC, which was the originator of that restriction back in 1974. But of course, they don't have money to do anything like that. Just to do my block would probably take one person at least a full week of work. They would have to generate a report on every single property individually.
Just now, it's just facade, is it?
It's what's listed in that historical
Oh.
preservation easement. But what Shantia said is she's working with other towns. She's currently working with a town in New Bedford to update their process. And build some sort of policing mechanism for them,
Mhm.
something that works really well for them.
Oh,
And I think this is a discussion for the Historical Commission and the CPC,
Right.
which is originating a lot of these, because once you're originating them, you don't know what's happening with them afterwards. And it's then being left up to the building department or whoever, and the building department, they're not historic preservationists. This is not it within their bag of tools.
This might be another thing with your. Yeah.
So Shantia said she would be happy to talk to maybe a large group meeting, maybe the chair of the Historic Commission and the CPC. Something like that.
Because I do feel, obviously we all have different jurisdictions, different things that we oversee. But a lot of the work is very similar. It is preservation work, it is all of these things. I feel like we all get a little lost in the sauce and who's doing what and where and all of that. So something like this would be wonderful, especially if we could have, let's say, a quarterly group meeting. And maybe just have a couple different presenters come in and talk about things that we all maybe could better understand, or things that we could be doing jointly.
Or utilize, right, yeah.
So from my perspective as an individual homeowner, my concern was if I make a change to the appearance of my house, what's my liability? But no one seems to be policing it. Was someone going to come forward in the future and say, oh no, you did that wrong, you have to remove it now, which could be very expensive.
Right.
Her advice to me was that if I drafted a letter and sent it off to all the relevant parties, which would be One Holyoke and the Historic Commission, saying, I'm going to make this change. And if I don't hear anything back from you in, say, 60 days, then I'm going to assume you have no objections to this change in the appearance of my property. And she said that was a way for me to manage this at this time with no enforcement mechanism on your side.
To go forward with needed repairs.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Okay, definitely. Wow.
So it was really good to have a conversation with someone who's truly an expert in their field. Too often, I mean, it is. And I've had so many conversations with so many of my neighbors and property owners over the years. I just wanted to get straight how it's really supposed to work.
Now, in speaking to her and then speaking to your neighbors, has this?
And I also spoke to Mike Moriarty at One Holyoke, and and he laid out that One Holyoke has better things to do with its money than to go after, hire the lawyers to go after you, to try to do all these enforcement mechanisms. But I think there is a way forward, either a new committee or a subcommittee or some sort of mechanism in the future where there's some sort of rapport with the property owners who do have this type of restriction, where they come forward once a year and you say, these things are not in compliance. What are your plans? And, only for the most egregious properties would I say that, then you can be somewhat antagonistic and say, we're going to have to refer this to the city solicitor. But I think it would be really great to have that sort of relationship with historical property owners.
Definitely. Yeah.
And maybe that's something that comes through this body. Maybe it's Fairfield Avenue. Maybe that's the correct way to, I don't know. But I bet Shantia does.
Okay, yeah.
We talked about creating packets. I think we create one for buildings, do one for home, and we could just. There's so much information out there, and it's been, years and years and things change. I think we just have to start maybe from scratch. This is how it's done. Here's the binder. That's antiquated, but here's the file, right? And that's just And if we have to
These
check
are
it
the
with
costs
the
that we
solicitor
don't
to make sure, yeah, and if the solicitor has to sign off on it to say this is what it is, and this is correct, let's do that. But there are processes and there are rules for a reason. And,
Mhm.
you know, I think.
So
oftentimes-
while doing some of this research, I had to check to make sure that my preservation easements were still in force. They come up every 10 years. And one Holyoke has re-upped them. I checked in the Hampden County Registry of Deeds. They're there. But they also had redone the ones on Lyman Street. They completely rewrote them back about 15 years ago. So they cleaned them up because there's things listed in mine that you wouldn't care to enforce today, like whether I have a clothesline. That's not something that you're not really that concerned with.
Well.
Yeah.
So, right.
So at one point in time, they went through and when they redid the roof, they helped that whole row. All those property owners signed off on a new preservation restriction and they cleaned up the language on it.
As the issues arise.
Yeah, so by reading it, it was a lot like mine, but it was definitely modernized and cleaned up.
Interesting.
So there's sort of like a review process too, when you look at these and you say, you know, we don't know why they did this in 1974, but it's clearly not correct and we need to change it.
Keep her number, yes.
So yeah, I have her contact information. So if you would like to set up a meeting,
Yeah, definitely.
she's in Rhode Island. She used to work in Washington, DC. She helped them with their historic easements. And she works all over New England.
Well, definitely maybe working with Shannon in some capacity of, yes. Please tell her that you spoke about her and.
I will.
Definitely, we'll be in touch and something, definitely. More the merrier in this, yes. Perfect. And spell her name, Peter. Yeah, I just wanna,
I will send you her contact.
okay,
info.
all right,
She has one of those kind of names.
okay, that's okay. Perfect. Any old business, new business?
Yes, Olivia, for the next meeting, can we review all of the paperwork and things for the plaque program?
Yes,
Okay, I think we should get that going prior to school coming back.
I have a rough draft, so. So I can send that around so we can discuss it at the next meeting.
Okay,
Great,
It's just it'll be easy. We need to pick one person to spearhead it. And we need some, there's some information on the form for the individuals that you'll need to look at and add or subtract. And then we need to work with the Dean Carpentry to figure out the money involved. Apparently the money for the plaque is going to go to the carpentry.
mhm,
So what amount of money do we need to assess?
well, the plaques were how much prior?
$35.
30, 35.
Yeah.
So,
Discuss it at next meeting.
yeah, I don't know. We can discuss 50 kind of comes, is
That's
it
what I was thinking.
Yeah. Yeah,
something like that? I don't think it should be too much more,
no,
because
And I also think too, let's say we do a fundraiser, maybe we could have some sort of program where we can give out a certain number with a lottery for free, or I don't know.
no, I agree with you. on
Subsidize
that.
some of that.
Yes.
right.
Okay,
right.
Next meeting, okay,
Is there someone in the chat or? Is that?
That one.
Okay.
and I just want to let the commission know, we may have two possible candidates, a person from a realtor, I'm sorry, her name,
Zaisha.
Zaisha. She's
Yeah,
expressed
she's
interest.
super interested. She's a real estate agent in Holyoke. She's very knowledgeable about what's going on specifically with commercial real estate, which is great for us. She's gonna forward
Mhm.
resume and all that, so.
Okay. That's it.
Good.
I think that's it. Anything else, anybody?
So Jennifer, will you send me the recording so I can,
Yes,
the minutes when you have a chance?
absolutely.
Thank you.
I will help you, Olivia.
Okay,
I'm sorry I sprung it on you.
I saw that there and went, uh-oh, I'll have my book ready next time.
It was a one-time thing.
Okay, okay.
All right, we have our next meeting scheduled for August 14th, if that works for everyone here.
Uh-huh.
Any problems with that?
5:30.
5:30? And it's now 6:55. I'd like to call the meeting the end. Oh, that's great. Thank you. So what happens? We just
That means, you know.
We just now.
I would just go through it and, yeah, so someone make a motion in a second.
Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Make the motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second?
Second,
All in favor, roll call?
Thank you. Christoph here.
Yes,
Jean,
done.
Joseph Pivola.
Yes.
Olivia Monzo.
yes,
All right. Meeting adjourned.
all right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.